My name is Emma, and this is a night I will never forget. It was my first night after the wedding, and even now when I close my eyes I can still feel the way the air seemed heavy, the way my heart beat so loudly I thought he could hear it too. That night was filled with silence, with unspoken words, with breaths that carried both fear and hope. I was a bride, but more than that, I was a woman standing on the edge of a new life, not knowing if the step forward would be soft and safe, or if it would break me. The room was glowing with the faint yellow light of a single lamp. Outside, the night was quiet, only the distant sound of a dog barking somewhere in the street, and the slow ticking of a clock on the wall. The bed was wide, covered in fresh sheets, and yet it felt too small because my thoughts filled every corner. I sat at the edge, my wedding bangles cold against my skin, my veil slipping slightly over my shoulder. I could feel the warmth of his presence just a few steps away, and still it felt like 1,000 miles separated us. I kept my eyes down, tracing the patterns on the bed cover with my fingers. My heart whispered questions I was too afraid to say aloud. Would he be kind? Would he understand me? Would he see me as a stranger? Or would he try to see the girl behind the heavy clothes, the nervous smile, the silence? Every second stretched so long. I thought the night would never move forward. He cleared his throat, a small sound that made me jump. He was sitting across from me, his hands resting on his knees. He didn't look at me right away. His gaze stayed on the floor, then on the wall, then finally slowly on me. My breath caught. I was not sure if he would reach for my hand, or if he would turn away, leaving the silence to swallow us whole. I thought of my mother's words before the wedding. Marriage is not only about love, she had said softly. It is about patience, about two people learning to walk together, even when their steps are different. Those words echoed inside me, giving me both comfort and fear. Could I really walk with this man I barely knew? Could he walk with me? Minutes passed. I wanted to speak, but the words would not form. Then, in a voice softer than I expected, he asked, "Are you comfortable?" His question surprised me. It was not about duty or expectation, it was about me. I nodded, though my voice finally found its way out. "Yes, think so." My voice trembled, but he did not laugh. Instead, he gave a small smile, almost shy, as if he too was carrying the same heavy questions. The silence between us began to change. It was no longer sharp and painful, it softened like warm air after a storm. He leaned forward slightly and said, "I know this is new for both of us. We don't have to rush. We can take time." His words were simple, but to me they were like a door opening in a dark room. Time, that was all I wanted and all I feared I would not have. I lifted my hand slowly, uncertain if it was the right thing. He saw, and without hesitation he reached out. His fingers touched mine gently, not holding too tight, not forcing, just enough to let me know he was there. That one touch broke the wall I had built in my heart. It was not passion, not yet love, it was trust beginning to grow. We talked a little after that. Small things like where he had studied, what food he liked, how nervous he had felt during the wedding ceremony. I found myself laughing softly when he admitted that he had almost forgotten his own lines because he was too busy looking at the guests. That laughter was like a small light, and in that light, I could see him not as a stranger, but as a man with doubts, with fears, with warmth hidden behind his quiet face. The night did not suddenly become magical, like in the stories, but it became real, and real was enough for me. I realized that love does not always begin with fire. Sometimes it begins with a hand reaching out in the silence, with patience, with kindness. As I lay down that night, the room still smelled of flowers from the wedding, and the clock still ticked on the wall, but my heart was calmer. I was not alone anymore. My fears were still there, but they were softer, wrapped in the gentle promise of his words. Looking back, I know that first night taught me something important. We often think love arrives like thunder, loud and powerful. But sometimes love is quiet. It comes in small steps, in shared smiles, in simple care. It comes when two people decide to face the unknown together, one day at a time. That night I learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to stay, to trust, even when fear is whispering in your ear. And I also learned that beginnings do not need to be perfect to be beautiful. So if you ever find yourself standing at the edge of something new, remember this. Do not wait for perfection. Trust the small moments, the quiet gestures. They can build a love stronger than anything else. If you like this story, Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.